Hi, I'm Angela, and I am a medical marijuana patient. This is the Reefer report for March 5th, 2010. Yesterday, a large group gathered at the Colorado State Capitol, and I showed up to testify in front of the House Judiciary Committee regarding House Bill 1284. Aside from the typical cop and prosecutor who rambled on about Gateway's unfounded increases in crime and other Anslinger-esque attempts at fear-mongering, there was a lot of support for the medical marijuana community. Here's KCNC with more on the protests before the hearing and the enormous turnout.
With advocates smoking pot on the Capitol steps and Denver police taking it all in from across the street, the latest bill to regulate dispensaries and growers was under attack before the hearing even started.
They also want you to post on your gardens a sign that you're growing medical marijuana there at that place. That is dangerous. It's unsafe. It's an invitation to criminals.
The bill the House Judiciary Committee is considering is 46 pages long. It requires, among other things, that all dispensaries, old and new, have to get state and local licenses.
This bill creates 3 classes of licenses. It creates a medical marijuana center license, an optional premises grow license, and an infused products manufacturing license.
One state lawmaker suggested requiring both a state and local dispensary license was unnecessary.
The local issue, I believe, would be limited to the location of the premises, and all of that could just be handled through local land use regulations.
The dispensaries have already won some concessions since state lawmakers started crafting the new rules, including the right to advertise their product, although they can't advertise their prices, and to continue to operate as a for-profit business. But they're still opposed to the bill, as are many law enforcement agencies who say it is wrong for the state to legitimize medical marijuana dispensaries. And again, that hearing's still underway. I'm told they've heard about half of those 90 people who signed up to testify. This House Judiciary Committee, just the first step in this process, and they will not be voting tonight. They will just be hearing testimony. So you've got legitimate patients, you've got potheads, you've got police, you've got politicians all arguing over this medical marijuana dispensary explosion that started just in the past year or so. And of course the bill, can you believe it, was passed 10 years ago. I should say the constitutional amendment that voters approved 10 years ago. We're live at the Capitol. Terry Jessup, CBS 4 News.
North Carolina Rep. Nick Mackey is working to legalize marijuana for medicinal purposes in his state. However, local police are still pushing their antiquated propaganda. Here's News 14 with more.
A major change.
It's hard to find detractors in this group. There are no waving signs or proclamations of protest, but near the back, listening intently.
Yeah, I wanted to find answers on this House Bill 1380.
William Bailey is still somewhat on the fence. House Bill 1380, a proposal to legalize medical marijuana, is up for discussion not only between lawmakers, but also folks like Bailey.
1380 is probably going to get stalled and not passed.
Bailey says the bill is a start. It was introduced last spring. It states that select people of a certain age and ailment could qualify to use marijuana legally. The bill cites a number of restrictions and safeguards along with promises of infusing money into the economy. If passed, North Carolina would be the 15th state in the country to have similar legislation.
It's for medical purposes.
State Representative Nick Mackey is backing the bill. He says it's intended to help people in severe pain live comfortable lives. However, some local law enforcement say it opens a can of worms, making drugs more acceptable in society. Mint Hill Police Chief Tim Ledford says, as a police chief, I would be inclined to oppose any such effort of legalization.
When you have the police talking about this, drugs, I think they have just a total ignorance of what the bill is about.
Bailey knows what the bill is all about, but still doesn't fully support it. In his hands, in this folder, he has another option. His hardly restricts the drug at all. He hopes he can get just as attentive an audience as these lawmakers. At UNCC, David Kernodle, News 14, Carolina.
Medical marijuana advocates are pushing a bill in Ohio, yet some are still stuck in the old gateway mentality. Here's TV 10 with this.
Now, currently, 14 states have legalized marijuana for use as medical cannabis. That includes Michigan just last year. And now a state lawmaker in Ohio wants our state to be the 15th state. 10 TV's Lindsay Siebert explains how proposed legislation could make that happen.
For Dawn Dunlap,
let's see if I can get in here without running you over.
Everyday tasks like getting a drink of water can be dangerous. One slip,
excuse me,
could threaten her life. She was born with a brittle bone disorder called osteogenesis imperfecta.
Makes me small. My bones are very fragile. I've had over 100 broken bones in a lifetime.
With nerve and muscle damage, Dawn lives with chronic pain. At her darkest time, doctors put her on 10 different medications.
And that took 5 years away from my life. Completely destroyed who I was.
Hopeless, Dawn turned to the internet, and there she says she learned about a miracle drug.
And I realized that cannabis is a medicine.
With just a few puffs twice a day, she says medical marijuana changed everything.
I'm able to get out of bed. I'm able to get up. I'm able to go to church. I'm able to, do my work from home. It's nice to be able to go out and have coffee with my friends.
But under state law, Dawn is committing a crime. Representative Kenny Yuko is out to change that. He's drafted legislation that would allow Ohioans to use marijuana for medical purposes.
We know it's out there. We know other states are doing it, but yet we have a mentality here in Ohio that, it's wrong, and doggone it, if you do it, we're going to prosecute you.
His proposed bill would establish a registry where patients would be exempt from prosecution. With the doctor's recommendation, they could receive doses of medical marijuana, possibly through the mail. Sure, he's heard all the jokes.
I think the number one question I have when we get ready to drop this bill, are we going to get any joint sponsors, ha ha ha.
But kidding aside, Yuko sees it from a serious perspective. He suffers from multiple sclerosis.
I can swear to God and the lives of my granddaughter behind me here that I've never touched a marijuana cigarette in my life and have no intention to. So it's not about me, it's about taking people that are reaching out for help, asking for help, and not knowing where to turn.
Representative Yuko expects to introduce his bill here to the House by the end of March, and he knows it will meet some opposition.
I want to stop it before it becomes legislation.
Jason Pappas with the Fraternal Order of Police says medical marijuana threatens public safety.
We're concerned that it will muddy the law enforcement picture on how we can arrest people. How much marijuana were they allowed to have? How many days is the supply? How much is a unit dose for the prescription?
He views marijuana as a gateway drug that could lead to rampant abuse.
Our role as law enforcement is to stop the proliferation of drugs, not to expand the market, especially in this kind of arena.
But Dawn Dunlap says it's not about getting high.
It makes you productive.
After years of pain, medical marijuana has brought back her life.
If I would go to jail, how would they deal with this? Would people sleep better at night knowing that I was in prison because I was simply trying to do what's best for my life?
In Columbus, Lindsay Sievert, 10 TV News.
Hamilton is taking a more direct and respectable approach to the dispensary industry in its city. KTVM has more.
In early February, Sarah Stevenson opened a medical marijuana operation in Hamilton. It was the second dispensary in town.
It was because of those two stores that we felt like, okay, before there's a whole lot of business license applied for, let's get a zone selected or zones selected where we want these stores.
Stevenson's store is located on busy First Street in downtown Hamilton.
I was advised from legal counsel that I should stay away from schools, churches, just as a courtesy.
And that's exactly where city officials want her to be.
There's a lot in the law itself that people are concerned about, but city councils can't change the law. We just can do our part to manage where those establishments go to keep our communities wholesome.
The temporary zoning ordinance approved Tuesday night allows dispensaries to locate in the local and highway business districts and near commercial manufacturing areas.
I'm in favor of more, like I said, clarification on the law. I think that would be more beneficial to everybody involved, patients, caregivers. I think it might make the community feel safer if there was more structure and less ambiguity.
Hamilton's zoning ordinance is temporary. After 6 months, the Hamilton City Council will reevaluate and decide if it should become permanent. Reporting in Hamilton, Beth Krogan for the News Channel.
This has been the Reefer Report for March 5th, 2010. Thanks for watching.